I recently got an interesting comment on one of my videos, and I thought that I wrote back. I think it was Miss Fairy Garden. If not, I'll correct her name. But she suggested that I speak about topics that were really more from the heart, and she had commented on my story. And so I told her that there were certain things in my life that, even though they would probably make for interesting content because I was truly speaking from the heart, but that because they involved other people, that I needed to protect their privacy, and it would not really be it wouldn't be fair for me to share those incidents in my life. But she did mention, she said, I did not know that you had had a facelift. And why don't you talk about that? And so I said, that is a great subject. And because it was quite a different experience for me, and I am going to share it. I think you guys are going to find it interesting, and we may have to go into a part 1, part 2, part 3 about this particular story. And this story is being told truly from the heart. Well, as I have said in my other videos, that when I turned 50, which was 16 years ago, I had a complete facelift. Now, actually, several of my friends, we all decided that when we turned 50, we were going to get facelifts and that we would take care of one another. And that's exactly what we did. So each one of us looked around, did our research for surgeons that we felt comfortable with. And we each did that in our own way because we each wanted to be comfortable with the doctors we had chosen. So I ended up really going by word of mouth. I interviewed a lot of plastic surgeons. I got to know the staff in their office, and it really came down to who I was most comfortable with. Which doctor was I the most comfortable with, and whose staff I was the most comfortable with. So I ended up choosing a doctor. He is a surgeon in Rancho Mirage area at Eisenhower Hospital. His name is Dr. Chisholm, and I'll put his name down in the details below. And I chose him because he had a wonderful staff who eventually are the ones that pretty much take care of you. And his office he was convenient. And most of all, I had seen his work, talked to a lot of his patients, and his work was excellent. And I also, another thing, ladies, to think about is I talked to a lot of hairdressers because hairdressers really see, scars and facelifts on ladies of all ages. So hands down, they had mentioned Dr. Chisholm, that they felt that his work was the best that they had seen. So that was another one of my resources, were the gals in the beauty salons. So after I had to make a date, and I knew that I was still working, I was still teaching, so I made like the first Friday, I think it was, after I was finished with the school year, I made a date to have my surgery. And then I thought that will give me, in those days, we had a good 3 months of summer vacation. So I thought that will give me 3 months to recover, recuperate, and that should be plenty of time. So I had made arrangements for some girlfriends to take care of me in my house. And they give you a long list of things you have to have done. Like you have to get a release from your GP. You have to have an EEG. You have to have, I think, certain blood work. You have to get all your medicines all lined up and ready to go, because you can't do that after you've had surgery. You have to get, for example, like ointments and distilled water and gloves for the gals that were taking care of me, and for me eventually. And so you go about preparing for your surgery by getting all your prescriptions, by getting all of your all of your medications, over-the-counter ones as well as not over-the-counter ones. So I also made sure that, my linen, my bed was clean, my towels were clean. I just wanted to another thing, you have to go shopping and buy all your food because you can only eat soft foods like jellos, scrambled eggs, yogurt. It is important to eat some protein, but this is a checklist that your doctor and their nursing staff will go over with you. So there's really a lot to be considered even before you go in for your surgery date. Finding your surgeon, really talking to the surgeon. And in fact, I remember when I went into the office to the doctors for my consult, which are free, by the way. I was at their desk, and they sat me down and they gave me a mirror and they said, "What is it about you that you would like to see changed?" And then I would say, like my chin, my eyes. My eyes were very heavy lidded. And so then they took the mirror and they told me what their philosophies were about how they were. Well, this particular doctor, he was into symmetry, and if I wanted him to do A, he would also have to do B in order to make A look correctly. And so he really talked me through like how he would redo my neck and where my incisions would be, and what to expect. And he talked me through like the aftercare and what to expect regarding pain and pain medication. What I would they really, really talk to you, and that's really the most time your surgeon will talk to you. And so my day came and they tell you, take a shower, wash your hair, no powder, no lotions, come as clean and sterile as you can, wear something that's easy to get on over your neck, on and off, because, you will be getting undressed and people will be dressing you when you're done. So I went into the office. He does surgery very early in the morning. So I think I had to be there at 7 in the morning. And I had friends drive me. My husband was out of town at this time, which was really good because you don't want your husbands to see you when you come out of surgery. It's really not a pretty sight, and it can be pretty scary. So my girlfriends were in there, and then when you arrive in the office, they give you all these disclaimers to sign, and that things happen on the table. And so anyway, I signed all that stuff. They do give you I think they gave me a Xanax at the time. And they said, take this 20 minutes before you come into the office. And so that really helps relax you. And then I went into this little room and I changed my clothes. I put on my I put on my warm-ups and socks. They say bring a good pair of socks. It'll keep your feet warm. And his surgical room is right there in the doctor's office. He has like a row of offices on one of the floors in the Eisenhower Hospital area. It's like a giant area with lots and lots of buildings. So I went into the operating room, and just the nurse, or the little helper gal, was helping me. She got me, she put my hairnet on and she got me all set up on the chair. It was like a dental chair. And she, she just talked to me, made small talk. And so remember, I had that Xanax. And so then the doctor comes in, the doctor starts my IV and starts marking my face. And then I did not have full-on anesthesia. I had something that was intravenous, and I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to find out because it made me totally go to sleep. I was very scared of that. I was afraid that they would think I was under and I would not be under. And so he promised me that I would be completely under, and I believed him, and I was. So he started the IV, and then, I kind of panicked, and I was like, no, don't do too much. And then right away, I just fell asleep. So then after surgery was over, I woke up I actually woke up in a wheelchair with, they had bound, I had like all this cotton all wrapped all over my head and then tape all around me. Just my eyes, my nose, and my mouth were visible. And I was in my new outfit, like my other top. And they had put my slippers on, and I was ready for to go home. They had called the people who were supposed to pick me up. They came, they talked to the doctor. The doctor gave them some orders, and then I was in my wheelchair, and I was barely conscious. I don't really remember any pain other than my headgear seemed to be wrapped on really tight. That's what I remember. And so I remember that my headgear was really tight. And it was probably around 11 o'clock-ish. And so my girlfriends drove me home very carefully. They got me in bed. They made sure they gave me my medication. There were 2 gals that stayed with me the first night. And one of them went home late. The other one spent the night. And I just got in bed. You're supposed to be up at a 90-degree angle. And they had put, which is smart, put towels all behind my head, cover up your linen, because the blood and the ointment gets all over your linens. So, because, even though you're supposed to sit up at a 90-degree angle, in your sleep, you kind of go like this. And even though you have this huge headgear on, it does kind of get smeared on your linens. So put a bunch of towels under your head. And in fact, I think we even covered those towels eventually with a big plastic bag so that any goop came off on the plastic bag. Now, I did have, remember, it was 16 years ago, and I did have drains. I was real scared of those drains, but they were nothing. They were just these little tubes, clear plastic tubes that hung down, and they had put my top on over them, so I don't even think I knew I had them till the next day. And so now here's the bad part. I got very nauseated and sick to my stomach that night. I think the gal that took care of me, she gave me orange juice or something. I was very thirsty. Well, anyway, I don't think I followed the directions. Not my fault. The girl that took care of me, it was her fault. But at any rate, I got very sick and I started vomiting. So they called the doctor, and the doctor actually came out to my house and gave me a shot that kept me from vomiting, because he said she cannot vomit. She's got all those stitches in her, and you can't be putting that pressure on the stitches. So after he came and gave me that shot, I had a great night's sleep. I fell asleep and fell until I was up in the middle of the night. I had to go to the bathroom. I was thirsty. I was in pain because my pain stuff was wearing off by like 2 in the morning. So the gal that was taking care of me gave me my pain meds, made sure I was comfortable, took care of me, had a straw and some water, and I was able to sip that. So that is it until the next morning, which will be day 2, which will be part 2 of my facelift story. So stay tuned. Bye-bye.